Good morning, happy Wednesday, and welcome into the number one Group of Five college football podcast in the world. This is the Group of Five guys. I am Matt Sprouse. That is Jeff Murphy, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need everybody's help to do that. We need you to hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most important thing you could do, share it with your family and friends. Or you can go to group-of-5guys.com and get you some Group of Five guys merch. On this episode, first official playoff committee rankings have arrived. We're going to break those down. We're going to break down some potential scenarios as we look forward through the rest of the season. We're going to talk about the rules of the playoff. Try to clarify that for everybody out here. We had some Tuesday night MACtion. I don't think we had anything else going on yesterday, but we'll talk about plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round, that's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this, but you guys are in the forefront of this. And
I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
All right, Jeff, who'd you vote for?
Oh man, we're just gonna get right into it, huh?
I'm kidding.
Hadn't slept a wink.
No, I haven't slept at all.
And I don't think the people in the chat are. We got 9 people right off the rip at the start of the show.
Well, a lot of people are fired up today, it seems, for whatever reason. If there's one lesson, this is the only thing I'm going to say about politics for the remainder of the show. Okay, I'm going to promise you, Jeff. Hold me to this.
All right.
If there's one thing we can take that I hope we can bring over to Group of Five football is if we can get the mainstream sports media to panic and freak out the way that they've done in the political realm, then I think we've done a job, Jeff. That's all I'm saying. We've done a good job if that's the case, and we need that to happen because look, that's the general reason why people vote for Trump. That's the general reason why he won and has won twice now, is simply because he's against the system and the mainstream. And I don't know why they haven't figured it out yet, because I bet you if they didn't get up there and spew the stuff that they spew for, now what, 8 years now,
Yeah.
that he wouldn't even be close. But that's
so what
you
you're
get.
saying is we need to do this to the college football playoff ranking because I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. If you want my God's honest opinion, that thing was more biased than any political thing we've had all season.
A lot of stuff I didn't agree with there. What I do agree with, though, Jeff, is on a Wednesday morning post-election night where you've slept for like 3 hours, there's only one thing. There's only one candidate that we all can vote for, and that's Decker Gray Coffee.
Ain't no doubt.
And you guys know the drill. You guys visit deckergray.com, get you the Group of Five guys game day dark roast. This is roast to order coffee. You add to cart, you put in that GOFG promo code, you put in your credit card, you click purchase. That's when the coffee gets roasted, bagged, and shipped directly to your doorstep. Get you the Group of Five guys game day dark roast. I've been going through it. I ordered 3 bags in my last order.
I'm about out.
And I'm running low again.
I need to order couple bags.
Yeah.
Got to get on
But-
it. Got to holler at my boy Devin.
That's right. But decagray.com, promo code is GOFG, 10% discount and free shipping. That was my main priority last night, was checking in on the playoff committee. So group of 5 teams, Boise State sitting at the 12 spot, and Army at 25. Things of note, BYU ranked 9, so that would put them in the bracket at the 4. And then Ohio State ranked, 2 or 3?
2.
2. However, second Big Ten team, so that would put them out of the top 4 and into the first round game. Home game in Columbus, Ohio, at the 5 seed. And that, the way it sits right now, that would be against Boise State. So, a couple other things. Iowa State sitting there at 17. So that's what you got to look at, because BYU, those are your top 2 Big 12 teams. So if BYU loses, or somehow Iowa State or Kansas State, I think, was sitting there at 19. And then I think Colorado's sitting there at 20. To me, I think with only 3 or 4 games left, going to be tough for any of them to jump Boise, assuming Boise continues to win. The only thing that's hurting Boise is the rest of their schedule is not favorable in the committee's eyes. Oregon State will be a decent opponent. And then for them, you're probably hoping you get UNLV again in the championship. But right now it's going to be Colorado State, which is not going to look as resume building in the committee's eyes. So what are you thinking, Jeff?
I mean, off the initial rip for me, I don't like it. I think I would have been happier if Boise would have been at like a 9 or 10. Which, saying that I think they're better than Notre Dame. I would say that their resumes, how much do you value losses, I guess, at this point? Because I think they're better than Alabama.
They have the best loss in the country.
Yeah, they do.
They lost to the number 1 team on the road by a walk-off field goal.
It should have won. Should have won if you hand the ball. If you hand the ball to the best running back in the freaking country, you win that game. You win that game and you're undefeated. And then, even then, they wouldn't be ranked number 1.
Yep,
that's the crazy thing. So it's you're seeing this bias over and over and over and over again. First one to come out, I think, we got to pray Army beats Notre Dame, because then that'll should knock Notre Dame out of it.
It should knock them out, and that would allow Army to make a big jump, and that's what they'll need. If you want to get 2.
You would hope. But Army being at number 25 sucks.
Yeah, that's the worst part. See, I feel okay about Boise, because I think they'll get I'm telling you, I've been telling you this for a week now, Jeff. They're going to get a 4. Now, I just know it. And there's a chance, to me, because Boise is the one team. It's the one team in their group of 5 that has brand power. And to be quite honest with you, I think if you had Boise State and BYU, that's a close call for branding. And boy, that would be a phenomenal playoff game to have.
Yes, it would.
Boise State, BYU. But anyway, BYU's playing Utah this week, I believe. Now Utah hasn't been nearly as good as they were supposed to be, but that's going to be a tough one. I think BYU is likely to lose. And at that point, I don't see a Big 12 champion jumping Boise State if they keep winning, which would give Boise, even if they stay at 12 or move to 11 or 10, it would give Boise State the 4. That's my thought here. Now, I think you would have to have some chaos for Army to jump in there, and because then at that point, theoretically, Army could be the 5th ranked group of 5 champion, even at something like 16 or 17. If you had Iowa State loses again, let's say Kansas State loses again, BYU loses. And then there's also the scenario where I'm looking at the ACC right now with Miami sitting there at 4. undefeated, and then SMU sitting there at what, 13, right behind Boise State.
Yeah.
Well, Clemson, they dropped way the hell down there. And I could very easily see a scenario where Clemson wins the ACC. And that's the question. Does Clemson, if they win the ACC, jump all the way back into that top 12 spot? I mean, probably.
Yeah.
but you know, that's where
large jump though.
It is a long jump. But yeah, and you'd have to hope that, because you just have to hope that both Mountain West and American champions are ranked above one of the Power Four, because that puts them as the 4th and 5th highest ranked champion and gets them in, whether they're top 12 or not. So, and the Big 12 appears to be the one that's most likely.
This is who Miami has left. They're on the road at Georgia Tech. I mean, I hadn't checked in on Georgia Tech in a while.
Not since they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah. But
or
they got the pieces. Then Wake Forest, that should be a win. And then you're on the road at Syracuse.
Yeah, but here's the deal, though.
I could see that. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that Georgia Tech or Syracuse beat Miami. Miami is overrated. I'm sorry.
But you don't. Yeah, they are. But you don't need them to beat Miami. You could have Miami number 1 in the country and lose to Clemson in the championship, lose to number 20 Clemson in a championship game.
Yeah, I don't want it to be close.
No, but to me, you want that, because if that's the case, Miami's still going to get in as an at-large at like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But then does Clemson jump all the way up to pass? You see what I'm saying here?
I don't think they jump. That'd be such a large jump.
That's what I'm saying. So
what
you've
should
got to be a
give
champion
if
to
Army
be in the top 4.
If Army beats Notre Dame, you should have a similar jump. You would hope.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Army's got to beat Notre Dame, and then they got to go beat Tulane in the or Navy in the championship game. So there's still a lot to be found out with that. I think that's the only way you get 2 at this point. Although, I mean, Army's at 25. Tulane in the AP is the next one, right? With
I think so.
Vote wise. But look, you got to win the championship. So let's try to. I'm going to try my best to clarify, because I've been kind of trying to explain it on Twitter. It's hard to do on Twitter. It's hard to explain unless you just kind of get it, because a lot of people keep saying, well, you know, they're going to get the group of 5 spot and they're going to get this, and say there's not a group of 5 spot. The top 5 conference champions are guaranteed. That's it. It's not the Power 4 conference champions and 1 group of 5 champion. It's not the Power 4 gets 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the group of 5 gets wherever they're ranked. It's the top 5 conference champions have a guaranteed berth. Theoretically, it's not going to be okay, but theoretically, that could be 5 group of 5 champions. If you started the season over and all 5 of them went undefeated, it absolutely could be. But so you have your top 5 conference champions. The top 4 conference champions get the bye week and a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed. That 5th conference champion is going to be seeded wherever they're ranked. And if they're 12 or below, obviously they'll be the 12. So if Boise is the 5th conference champion and they're ranked 7 in the committee rankings, they'll be the 7 seed. If they're ranked 5, they'll be the 5 seed. If they're ranked 12, they'll be the 12 seed. If they're ranked 14, they'll be the 12 seed. So you got to look. That's where I'm looking at BYU. I'm looking at Iowa State, and I'm thinking, okay, if BYU loses, they're going to drop below Boise State. So to me, it's going to be tough at that point for any other champion to jump Boise State, which would put Boise State at the 4. Then you take a look at Army or Tulane or the American champion. And if Army beats Notre Dame, who's who's Notre Dame
10.
right now? 10. So if 25 beats 10, Notre Dame will probably drop to 11, and then Army will jump and then Army will jump to I truthfully, I think I think that's why Army's at 25. I think the committee's looking at Army saying, well, look, they're undefeated. They've blown everybody out. But schedule, to me, it's fair because they haven't played the best team. They don't play the best teams in their own conference this year. And, they haven't had a, huge non-conference game or anything like that. But I think that's like the test where I think the committee they're at 25 and it's kind of like, look, we know they still play Notre Dame. So that's going to be the test for us. So that if they go and beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame where is that game? MetLife again or somewhere? Chicago or somewhere dumb. Yankee Stadium, I think it is.
I think you're right.
I think it's Yankee Stadium. So if that happens, I think they would make a pretty significant jump. And then at that point, again, these are all hypotheticals. I don't know if everybody's following me here. But at that point, if you have Boise at the 4, then all Army has to do is be ranked ahead of the Big 12 champion.
Yankee Stadium.
So if BYU loses a game or two, or whoever ends up somehow winning the Big 12 championship, if Army beats Notre Dame and jumps up to like 17, 18, then they go beat Tulane and they jump up to 15, 16. If the Big 12 champ is
below
16 or 17, they're left out at that point, and Army would be the 12th. Now, I get it. Committee's not going to do that, right? They're going to look at right now. I think the committee's probably looking at Colorado, thinking, how do we get Coach Prime into the playoff for these ratings? That's what I think. And I also, if I were to tell you right now, I probably would pick Tulane to beat Army. Now, here's the other scenario of all of this. Boise State loses anywhere along the way, whether that be a regular season or, God forbid, the Mountain West Championship game. Then that door is wide open. Then I think your next option is the American champion, whoever, Army or Tulane. But then I think there's a scenario where let's say Army gets blown out by Notre Dame and then beats Tulane in a championship game. And then let's say Boise State loses to a 3-loss, 4-loss Colorado State team in the championship game. Then there's a small town called Lafayette, Louisiana, Jeff. And there's a team called the Ragin' Cajuns that, in my opinion, would be the next team if they win out. So there's still a lot, right? Everybody's looking at, okay, it's Boise State, Army.
Hear me out. Hear me out. That scenario happens, and then Louisiana loses in the Sun Belt Championship.
And Georgia Southern or somebody.
Western Kentucky.
You would.
Jacksonville State.
You would. You absolutely
Conference
would.
USA would be 2 years in a row represented.
Or you go up to Mac country and you get a team in Bowling Green or somebody.
You mean Miami? Because they've seemed to figure it out.
There's a lot of scenarios. I mean, I think to me, if I were a betting man right now, I would say Boise State ends up getting the 4, and then BYU, who the Big 12 champion, is in at 8 or 9, 10, wherever they're at, and that's all we get. That's what I think
most realistic situation.
I think it is. Now, to me, Boise at 12 this early is good. Where's SMU? Right behind them, 13.
Yeah,
isn't that something? Group of 5 a year ago. Now all of a sudden they got a new patch on their chest.
Isn't that wild?
Weird.
Brand recognition.
But they're one to watch because they're sitting there at 13. If they somehow were to, if BYU wins out or SMU somehow wins the ACC, they'll end up jumping Boise. But then Boise will still just be at that 12 or 11 or wherever they're at.
See, I could see that happening. I could see SMU beating Miami. They jump.
A championship game.
They jump.
But that would just make them go to the 3. That would make SMU the 3.
Oh, yeah.
Or 4.
That's right.
Yeah. See, that's what people I think are not realizing, or it gets lost in the translation because you're putting Miami in there
because Oregon and Ohio State are in the same conference. And they're ranked 1 and 2 right now.
1 and 2, except for that bumps Ohio State to the 5 slot in the playoffs. Which is,
but even so, though, but the point I was trying to make is, if SMU beats Miami, yes, SMU will. I think that helps Boise get a home playoff game, and that's what I want. I want a home playoff game on the blue turf.
Yeah, because you would Miami would go down to like 5 or 6. SMU would be in that bye week slot,
and you'd have to move.
And it would add another team in front of Boise in the That'd be pretty cool.
That's what I want. I want a home playoff game in Boise, Idaho, and we're there. We're out there repping for the Group of 5. Because we ain't been out there yet.
We hadn't been out west. Haven't
we
been
gotta
to
get
the
out
blue
there.
turf. Here's the other thing, Jeff. We were talking about this on the phone yesterday, or maybe the day before, but got a sneeze coming.
God bless you. Sitting tight.
Anyway, we were talking about whether we would rather the home game or the bye week. And man, this playoff is spread out so much over the course of December and January that I definitely think you want the home game, because if you play in a conference championship on December 6th or 7th or whenever that first weekend is in December, and you get a bye week, you're not playing again until New Year's, right?
Pretty much.
I mean, I think New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, because the first round games are on the 20th and the 21st. So either way, even if you win your championship game, you're still having 2 weeks off.
Yeah. And I think that's about all you want.
Yeah, you don't want more than that. And then if you win that, you're going to have like another week and a half off. So I think you got to be careful. Now, yes, if you got guys banged up, Boise's got some O-line guys injured. You want to get them back. But here's the other thing that I am deeply concerned with, Jeff, before we get into last night's games and the Wednesday and Thursday game. Here's what I'm deeply concerned with for a Boise State, for a Tulane, for a Louisiana, is you get to your conference championship game in December. Guess what everybody that's not playing in conference championships are doing in December? Firing coaches, getting in the transfer portal, opting out of bowl games, hiring coaches. So guess who's going to be the hot commodity of whatever coaching search is out there? The damn Group of 5, the highest ranked team. Right now, Spencer Danielson, I don't think he's on the top of anybody's list just yet. I mean, he's brand new. This is his first year as a head coach. But boy, I mean, we think this is he's going to be getting phone calls anyway. But if a Tulane makes a run, and then you got to wonder this, right? I don't know what agent gets in what player's ear in the first week of December and says, "Hey, look, man, Senior Bowl's coming up in February. Do you really want to play for another month and risk yourself getting hurt? Hey, man, NFL draft's coming up in April.
Yeah.
You got 4 months, man. Go down there to D1, start training for the combine, because your 40 time is what they really look at, not that you might go win a national championship." And so that's my biggest concern with all of this. And that's also my biggest concern with having more time off. I think if you have less time off, they're not having time to think about it. You're on the field with your boys, but you have a month off. You go home with your family. Long lost uncle shows up at the door, starts telling you all the NIL money you can get elsewhere.
Yep.
You're going to have and man, if that happens, you're going to have a coach here or there that takes another job during this time, whether it be a coordinator or a head coach. And so that's my concern, Jeff, which is why I think that they should shorten the regular season and allow all conference champions in the playoff. But that would just be too difficult to do. I think conference championship games should be played on Thanksgiving weekend. You could start doing playoffs the first week of December. You can have the national championship game on New Year's Day. You could still play all the rounds. Just play every week. But
I don't see what I guess the bowl schedule maybe.
Well, I don't know, Jeff. Probably because we got to play Army and Navy in the middle of December for no reason.
That's very true. Very true. Can't wait to ask AAC commissioner? That question.
That's next week.
Yeah.
Next week, you guys in the chat, or you guys watching? We got AAC Commissioner Tim Pernetti coming on the show next week. So questions for him.
Big
Ask away. American Conference Commissioner, Army Navy questions, Tulane questions, expansion questions, whatever you got, shoot them over. We will try to ask. 2 games in the MAC last night. You had some rain out there, a little bit sloppy everywhere. Bowling Green went to Central Michigan. Bowling Green to me was a little sloppy. I think a bit of a trap game for them. Big emotional win against your rival in Toledo. Big showdown with Western Michigan next week for first place in this conference. So I think that had something to do with it. They just looked a bit sloppy, but at the end of the day, they were better. They were better than Central Michigan. They kicked a bunch of field goals at first, but they finally got a couple in the end zone.
Yeah, we're able to run it for almost 200 yards. Terrion Stewart, 117 yards in the ground on 20 carries. Tell you what, that guy's a unit. We get to see him live. Yeah. Connor Bazelak had a pretty productive day. Didn't turn it over, and that was really the story in the game. You said it. It was a pretty kind of lackluster, ugly performance. But at the end of the day, you're going to have these, just throughout the season. But being able to figure out ways to win these games is huge. So they get to win. There's 4-1 in conference. Like you said, that Western Michigan game is going to be huge.
Yes, it is, my friend. And then Miami at Ball State. But didn't we know this? Miami didn't look great. They didn't look great, by the way. But Gabbert looked pretty damn good.
He did.
And they, if it wasn't for that early pick 6, what were they doing? Was that like a trick play or something? I caught the very end of it. And Gabbert didn't throw an interception. So they tried to get too cute, it seems like. But other than that, man, they outplayed Ball State pretty much. It was raining, a little bit sloppy, but Miami gets that win. And here we go. The usual suspects.
Yeah, the offense is finally has woken up. Gabbert's playing well, but that defense only giving up 51 rushing yards to Ball State. And I know it's Ball State, but you get a bunch of turnovers as well. That's Miami, Ohio football. Play great defense, make it an offense one-dimensional, and get turnovers. If they continue to do that, the way their offense is playing and able to actually score now, I mean, they look like the favorite. It's why we picked them. They had all that talent coming back on defense, on offense. They continue this run, they're going to be in the championship game and have a very good chance to win it.
Yes, they are. Now tonight we got 2 games. Ohio at Kent State. I mean, Kent State is bottom of the MAC right now. They got a lot of work to do. But I'm going to tell you this: Ohio will win this game, but that QB's got to cut the turnovers down. 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions on the year for Navarro. If they want to make the jump into this top tier of the MAC, they're going to have to change that ratio real quick.
Yeah, you can't turn the ball over that many times and expect to win a championship. But love their running back and Tyus. Kent State's. I don't think they win a game all year, and I hate that because I like their uniforms. I don't know if you saw their uniforms. They look
pretty nice.
They look pretty good.
Yeah.
Who does Ohio have left? They got Eastern Michigan. They go on the road at Toledo, and then they got Ball State. So they're gonna have to clean.
And how many conference losses do they have right now? Just 1 or 2?
Let me tell you.
I think they're one of the many 3-1 teams.
Yeah,
or what?
3-1.
Yeah. I mean, this thing is wide open in the MAC. Anybody, like we've been saying, anybody can get it. Now I'm going to tell you this: NIU is favored 2 points on the road at Western Michigan. Western Michigan. Okay, so we've had some Marshall fans in the poll. Because we had Western Michigan ranked, I think, 9 and Marshall ranked 10 in our poll, and Marshall beat them head to head. They have the same overall record. They do. However, Western undefeated in the conference, 4-game winning streak, undefeated at home, number 1 scoring offense in the MAC. And Jeff, have you watched this Hayden Wolf kid play this year?
That's exactly where I was going.
15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, over 1,500 yards in the air. I mean, this guy's having a under the radar massive season. The fact that he's got 3 picks in a conference when we're talking about others that are 1-to-1 touchdown to interception. I mean, you got to give that guy his credit, man.
Absolutely, you do, and that's like the biggest key of a quarterback is can you protect the ball? Can you keep the ball in your offense's hands and not give extra possessions to the other team? And he's been able to do that. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the MAC. And when we did our MAC preview, that was my biggest question mark: was can Hayden Wolf be the guy? Can he run this offense, be efficient? And he's almost at 70%. I think he's at 68% completion percentage. He talks about the touchdown interception ratio. They have skill guys all over the place. That's why they're 4-0 in the MAC, and nobody's really talking about them. And if you look at their route to the championship game, I mean, they got NIU. They got to go on the road at Bowling Green, but then they get Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan. So these next 2 weeks are huge for Western Michigan. But if they can do it, they could possibly go into the MAC undefeated.
And if Boise State loses, Louisiana loses.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That of the run.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 5-3. I think their toughest losses are.
Well, they lost to what? Ohio
Wisconsin
State
and Ohio State, and then Marshall.
I mean,
it's an outside. Yeah. It's a very outside chance because you had a lot of things that need to happen.
Of course. I mean, yeah, you got to. And by the way, did you see that that bourbon bottle that NIU had? I know Coach Hammock said it was done, but I don't think he's got my address or anything. so I'm a little concerned with how that delivery is going to occur.
Knowing him, like, well, you got to come up to
DeKalb.
Yeah. To pick it up.
I've been up there. I've been up to DeKalb. They got some underrated facilities up there at NIU. They got a big time full 100-yard indoor.
Really?
Oh yeah, decent sized weight room, a little older weight room, but good size weight room. I mean, they got a nice building. They got a nice operation happening up there. And I wasn't in the city of Chicago, but I was around Chicago, and I want to say it was like just over an hour west of Chicago. Straight shot, not a whole lot.
Yeah, there's not much up there.
In between, you go from Chicago to DeKalb, and there's a lot of corn, and they have those windmills, very, very energy efficient, I believe.
So they say.
They say those kill the birds. Do you know that?
I hear that.
Those windmills.
It's funny, those kill
I've
birds.
always thought they were creepy. You drive up in the Midwest somewhere, and you're just like, where am I? But
well, it's funny, they kill birds by the hundreds, thousands probably. Nobody's yelling about taking the windmills down, but God forbid when Boise put in that blue turf, birds were flying into the turf, and they were like, "You got to change the field."
Dude, I find it so funny, and I'm not. I can't. I told you I wasn't going to talk about politics. This has nothing to do with politics, Jeff. I find it funny when this has to do with the environment. Okay, like down here in Georgia, where I'm at, they'll take like 1,200 acres of forest and just mow it down to put a bunch of solar panels down and say it's good for the environment. And I'm like, I think all those animals and trees would have done a little better. But anyway,
the grub worms, Sprouse, the grub worms.
That and it affects your food supply. I mean, you have these chickens that are on a solar farm, and they're eating grains, and they're not eating grubs and worms.
I'm trying to be like Rick Ross, man. Just buy thousands and thousands of acres and have chickens. Raise my own chickens, homie.
And cut his own grass.
That's it. Speaking of facilities, though, I got to tour the MTSU under construction facilities. It's gonna be pretty sweet when they're done. Supposed to get in there by June of next year. So that could be a huge tool for our Blue Raiders as far as recruiting wise goes, because God knows we need it. We got to get some damn offensive linemen in. Big game this weekend, Spruce. I know we'll talk about it Friday, but can't wait to see all the Liberty folks, our friends over at Liberty, Chad. And
now, are you hosting? Are you gonna? Are you tailgating at all? It's a Saturday game.
It's an early game though, so we got to get out there early.
So now, are you going to get the Liberty faithful out there to Peck Hall? Hopefully there's not, typically on game day Saturday, our president likes to have classes
Yes, he does.
right there in the same building to make sure the band can't play during the tailgate. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be there. Well, we're gonna try and coordinate it up. I gotta start moving on that stuff.
It's on Saturday. What's today? Wednesday?
Yeah, we got plenty of time. Been a little preoccupied.
Yeah, a little bit. People are Joe and Steeple are in the chat talking about Summerall going to Kentucky. Yeah, I mean, look,
don't even
Kentucky,
put that in the universe.
I know. Well, and that was the reason I thought it was interesting that he went to Tulane, because we thought he was a season away, staying at Troy and making that jump. And I mean, I think I got bad news, Jeff. Not only Kentucky, I don't know how long Hugh Freeze is going to last in Auburn.
He won't. Auburn's a bad job. That's one of those places where I don't know, because of the leadership.
Your little brother, as much as they won't want to admit that.
And Summerall's pretty sharp. I think he knows that. Now they throw gobs of money at you.
They will, and Auburn's a cool place. It's a very cool town. I don't want to sell it too much, Jeff. It's a very cool town.
Tulane, you got a lot of money.
Stadium's pretty cool. However, their fans and their donors are, boy, if they were good, they would be one of the worst fan bases in the country, because they're so delusional.
Yeah.
I mean, they threw that Brian Harsin. I don't care what you say, bad hire or not. They didn't give that guy a shot. They hired him, and they already wanted him out before they played a game. The fans did. And then they made up an alleged affair and all this stuff on the guy that never really was accurate, it seemed like, just to get him out of there. And Hugh Freeze appears to actually be that kind of guy, and he's got the same record. Anyway, Thursday night, this game is always a good game. App State going to Conway, playing Coastal. Coastal's on a 3-game losing streak, Jeff, and their quarterback play has not been very consistent over the last few weeks. For App State, it's just starting to. It's like starting to the seed's been planted, and we're starting to see some growth coming up out of the dirt, Jeff.
Yes, we are. We are, and Aguilar's starting to play better. That defense is not giving up massive explosive plays every time you turn around. Monty Marshall's running the ball well. They're starting to figure it out. They need some help, but if they take care of Coastal, Steeple, I know you're in the chat. Hadn't heard much from our boy Stu's Right in the last couple weeks. Could start to see some resurfacing of that guy. I don't know. App State's got some payback from last year too.
They do.
I think they get this. I think they get the win.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up the big play, and typically, right, if you're talking about a big play by technical terms, that's a run 12 yards or more, or a pass 16 yards or more. It's typically what like a coach would say big play is, right? And we're not even talking about that. Outside of the last 2 games, right? So App's won these last 2 games. Before that, in every single game this season, they've given up at least one play of 50 yards or more. And 50 yards was against South Alabama. Every other game has been 65 yards or more.
It's crazy.
Multiple 75-yard plays. And typically if you go back and watch, and that includes that East Tennessee opening game, I think they had an 80-yard. So not only are you getting these huge, massive, explosive plays, you're getting one play, 75-yard touchdown drives on multiple occasions. You want to talk about demoralizing for your whole team, your defense, your offense, everybody. I mean, you've had that in every game except the last 2, and they've won, and they've started to look better. I don't know. Have they figured something out? Is it something that the other teams have not figured out? I don't know, Steeple. I apologize, but it's just they started out good. It started out like we were underrating them, and now all of a sudden it looks like a struggle.
Well, we talk about it all the time, Ryan. There's Stock's 3 important emphasis is time of possession, turnovers, and explosive plays. If you can win those 3 phases of the game, you're going to have a chance to win a lot of football games.
Yeah.
And it seems like App's been able to do that the last 2 weeks. They can continue that momentum. We said it all preseason. Like, they have had the most coming back. Like, they just haven't been able to figure it out. Maybe they're starting to figure it out. Might be too little too late, but if they can make a run, a lot of times, guys, winning conference, it's about who's playing the best football at the right time. Might be them. I don't know. We'll see. I think this game's a big test for App. If they can come out and dominate and show that they were the team that a lot of people thought they were in preseason, I think everybody else needs to look out the rest of the way.
Yeah. Well, and like we said, this has been a great game for the last several years. It's typically been on a Tuesday or a Thursday night, it seems like. I think as much as Coastal has been playing bad lately, they're going to get up for this game. So here's the key, right? The first drive of the game is probably going to tell us a lot, because those are the ones. That's when App has given up the 80-yard touchdown. So if Coastal gets it first, look out. Do they go explosive plays up down the field in a minute and a half and score, or does App stop them? Does Coastal turn it over? What happens in that first drive, to me, is going to be very telling on the rest of the game. But I'm sorry, Steeple. I think App's going to win. I really do.
I agree.
And I've been planting that seed for a couple of weeks now. That just look out, dude. There's a scenario where they find themselves sitting there. Another game Thursday night, FAU at ECU. Do we have a prop bet on over/under interceptions thrown in this game? Because I would take the over.
It depends who's playing. Is it going to be Hauser or is it going to be Garcia? I think Hauser is going to get the start.
Well, it's got to be Hauser, and he's played better, but he's thrown them too.
He has.
I mean, he's just thrown more touchdowns. Like, he threw 2 picks last week, didn't he? But he threw like 5 touchdowns. So, and then Cam Fancher, he's a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception guy on the year. Yeah, Jake Garcia threw 12 interceptions before he was pulled.
That's crazy. That's so many interceptions. And maybe they knew what they had in Hauser, that he wasn't much better, and that's why they took so long to change to him. I think the question of this game is which Fancher are we going to get?
Yeah.
And that seems to be the question, all year. FIU has problems up front, but they got the skill guys. So if we can run around and make plays and protect the ball, they have a shot. I mean, East Carolina's defense is good. But shoot, Temple scored 34 on them. So I don't know. This is a toss up. It's at home.
Is
East
this
Carolina,
week,
right?
Is this the second game or third game for ECU with the interim head coach?
Number 2, I think.
Was last week their first game without him?
Yeah, because we talked about the bump, right?
Yeah, we did.
I think that was last week.
Yeah, so now you look at it to come back down to earth. But that being said, FAU, it's at home. FAU's what, 2-6, 2-7?
Yep, 2-6.
Boy, with wins over what, FIU and
Wagner
College, Staten Island, New York, home of the Seahawks. I think they are.
Yeah, I mean, I like ECU in this game, mainly because they're at home, and it's a 7 p.m. kick. I'm interested to see how cracking that crowd is. Do they show up or do they not show up?
Thursday night? Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
Kicking it.
I gotta say, the student support at games is just baffling to me. It really, really is. And then on the schools that you have the big student support, you don't always get the alumni or the home side support. And again, it's like you look at the App States of the world, the Liberties of the world, the Boise States of the world. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever. Noon kickoff, 10:30 kickoff. Doesn't matter. Students are there. And I watch these MACtion games, right? I mean, what else are you doing on a Tuesday night in those towns? I mean, I also get where it's most of the time it's so damn cold. Like you're talking to a guy that would not probably be out there long once the sun went down. But I mean, I just don't. And again, for everybody that says win, I can show you a winning team that's not getting the crowd. And then I can show you a losing team that is. And then everybody will say, in some of the places you're like, oh, well, there's too much going on. There's too much. And then I'll point you to Charlotte. And their students are there every damn week, no matter what. Losing team, been losing for a long time. Not a lot of history, not a lot of tradition, a lot going on that they could be doing in the city. But damn it, they're there every week.
It's got to be like the Greeks. I feel like they have a strong Greek support in their student section.
Yeah.
At least in their student section.
I do think what I will say is I do think what helps the Charlottes, the Apps, the Liberties of the world is there's not a stronghold by any of your big brands in those areas.
True. Because
in the state of North Carolina, basketball season, although App State, they show out for basketball too. Basketball, North Carolina is a basketball state. Yeah. North Carolina, Duke, Wake, all those guys right on the same street. And then Virginia, Virginia Tech has a really good fan base, but they don't dominate the media and the entire state like you'd see in Georgia, in Alabama, in Tennessee, where, I can't go anywhere without seeing the freaking trio of Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, everywhere I go. Yeah. House divided every damn place I go. We're 2 hours from any of them. But interested to see what ECU, I say all that to see what ECU puts together. I think they'll win the game. I think FAU is struggling. I think Tom Herman is
hot seat.
Maybe super hot, in my opinion, because you're paying all that money. That's the thing about it is it's like FAU has made they have made the investment.
Yeah,
the facilities, the stadium, all that stuff, big name coach, and you're still not seeing the wins, which is crazy to me. And again, we've been saying this since we've been doing this. It's places like FAU, they got dudes all over the field, man. They got dudes that look the part. They always have, even when they're good and when they're bad. When we used to play them, and FAU was, I don't know that we ever lost to them, but they always had
always
dudes
close.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna take ECU. We got voicemails, Jeff.
We got two
voicemails. Let's get to them. You guys keep calling that hotline 615-900-4286. Want those raw emotions? I hope we get some good ones for Friday's show. Steeple, Stu, you guys, Baker Loy, App State Fanatic.
We hadn't heard him in a while.
Is Steeple our only coastal caller?
No,
I think the App State fans.
Yeah. No, we've had I think, was it Iverson Reed that was in the chat who called in?
He's called. Yeah.
He called.
We do got to. I think the App State fans are. They're quiet. They're sitting there watching this. They're looking at each other with a side eye. Like, are we gonna do this? But they're scared.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah. It's like everybody. Why all the Trump people last night were sitting there like, is he gonna win?
Oh.
And then the Harris people were like, oh no, is he gonna win? That's what's happening with Coastal and App right now. Anyway, get to the voicemails, Jeff.
Call that hotline 615-900-4286. Let's get to it.
Group of five guys. Forgot to call y'all this weekend. So it's Monday morning, about 7 a.m. here in Perry, Georgia. Heading to work. But, man, what a victory. Another, scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. I think, that's the fifth time out of 8 games that we've held opponents scoreless in the fourth quarter. In South Al, I think they scored 20 or 27 in the freaking third. I mean, look, hats off to South Al. I don't know what was going on with Gio Lopez. He might have gotten hurt towards the end of the game. I'm not sure. Prayers out to him. Hope he's okay. He's a hell of a player. I mean, good gosh, we could not stop the freaking run. We got to clean up a lot of crap, but hey, a win's a win. Dexter Williams obviously comes in again, and gets the job done. You know, credit to Dexter, but, you know, JC got poked in the eye really, really bad. They were showing him on the TV, and, man, it was swollen. So, you know, didn't get pulled for bad play. JC still go 22 for 27, 198, 2 tugs. Jalen White, 18 carries, 71 yards, touchdown. Dexter Williams, 3 for 5, 33 yards and a touchdown. You know, fans are still saying, oh, we won that game because Dexter came in. No, you didn't. Dexter played great. It helped, but it's not the reason you won, you know? It's whatever. But a question I got for y'all is just weigh in the little quarterback, little controversy, I guess. Sprouse, I asked you about it the other day. Murph, I'd like to hear your opinion coming from a former college quarterback. So, hey, hail Southern. God bless the Group of 5 guys, and God bless college football.
Appreciate you, Josh. What's the specific question? Is there one? Is that what he's asking?
Yeah, is there a QB controversy? I mean, Dexter's answered the bell every time he's gotten the call. To me, why not keep doing what you're doing? They're both playing well right now.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, what classifies a controversy? Because the public deems it so?
I guess.
I don't know. The only people that know are the coaches and the quarterbacks in that room. And I don't know either of those guys personally well enough to know what their relationship is like. It seems like it's good and they support each other, and that's really what you got to have, because if they support each other and they got each other's back, there's not really a controversy. And as long as the locker room's not split and the team understands the situation that French is the guy and Williams comes in when he needs to, like, there isn't one. Now, if you got a situation where Williams doesn't really have his back, and you can tell, I've been in rooms that have been good and I've been in rooms that have not been good. If some guys want Williams, some guys want French, then you got a little bit of an issue. Now, the public's going to do what they do because they don't know better. And they think, again, it's like Malachi Nelson and Maddox Madsen. Nobody knows more than Helton and that staff. And he's over and over again said that French is the starter. And I think French has earned that right. He's got him to this point. Yeah, has he played every snap perfect? No. Has Williams come in and saved a game here or there? Yeah, he has. But I don't think there's a controversy. At least it doesn't seem like there's one. It seems like French is the guy and Williams is the backup. And Williams is doing his job. That's exactly what you're supposed to do as a backup. Be ready when your number's called. And every time you get an opportunity, make it difficult on the coaches. And he's done that. So I don't think there is one.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, speaking of Georgia Southern, that's a noteworthy news. Jared Benko, the AD, taking the deputy AD job at Auburn. And then Chris Davis gets the AD job at Georgia Southern. I like Chris Davis a lot.
Congrats, Chris.
Yeah, that's big. That's a big time move. And then you gotta be on the lookout for stuff like that when somebody goes to another school. Okay, who's in their coaching tree? Who's in their coaching network? Down the road when they're looking to make hires. What else we got voicemail wise, Jeff?
Oh, we got the last one of the day.
Hey, Group of 5 guys. How you doing? This is Steeple_PC_51. Sorry I had a delay on calling. I was really in my feelings about the Coastal Troy game. Hats off to you, Joe. Hats off. Man, it still bothers me. I don't understand all the changes and all the inconsistency, and it's frustrating to actually watch. You just don't know. I'm really in my feelings about it. We had a good chance to make some noise in the Sun Belt. So I'm not going to dwell on too much because this is a tough call. I talked to Zach online a couple times, congratulating him. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to congratulate you, Joe. I was too busy putting down another couple of flights and some Jack Daniel, and I couldn't call then because I would have been cussing up a storm. But the East is still wide open, and just don't hate to rely on other teams to get where we need to be. But it is what it is. That's why you play the game. That's why it's not on paper. So I don't have much to say except love the group of 5, love the platform, love hearing you guys come in. I'm not going to comment on any other team. Still, I know, man, when y'all beat our ass, man, that's gonna be it for me this whole year. But go Sunbelt. And hey, one thing, I know Boise State should be ranked 10 or even 9 up in the polls. But the elephant in the room, Indiana, if that coach was still at JMU, y'all guys, he might have done something. I don't like the attitude, but quality coach. Anyway, go Shots.
Good to hear from you, Steeple.
It's always good to hear from Steeple.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but Cignetti's doing a great job at Indiana.
He is, Jeff.
I hate to say it.
They kind of got shafted last night too, huh? Where were they at? 9?
I don't know if I still have it up. They are at 8. 9 seed, but the 8.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's the thing that these Power 4 fan bases don't. They're on like we're fighting. They need to be with us fighting this fight because I've heard multiple people say it and seen it on Twitter all the time. If Indiana had maize and blue helmets, they'd be number 1 in the country.
That's right.
Right now. 100% they would. No questions asked. If Boise State had a red and black G on their helmet, they'd be number 2 in the country right now. No question about it. But
you know what's funny too is a good friend of mine is an Ohio State fan, and we were hanging out this weekend for my birthday, and he goes, "You know what? If we don't win the national championship this year, I hope we go and get Curt Cignetti from Indiana." I'm like, "What?" And I'm like you guys are ranked number 2 in the country right now. He goes, "Yeah, but there's just something about Cignetti. I like his swagger, and he'd fit perfect at Ohio State." I was like, "What? Cocky and arrogant?"
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like these guys, they're not even happy with.
Slightly delusional.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, Ryan Day. Well, Ryan Day's a weird. He's kind of odd to me. I've never really. But
just
you look at places like
fan bases, man,
like Ohio State. I mean, you go from Urban Meyer, like winning championships, and then you go right to Ryan Day, and you really don't skip a beat. Like, yeah, he hasn't won it yet, or he might not win it. But again, it's like. You guys gotta be like you're like the one school that hasn't had the drop off when you change a coach. In Alabama, that's still kind of up in the air for what they're going to be like. It's like, man, guys, like only one team can win the whole thing. There's 130 or whatever teams in Division I football. Only one of them can win all of it. So, like, I mean, it's crazy. It was always crazy to me in the SEC when they would always fire. You give these coaches 2 years. Lose to Nick Saban and fire him. It's like, guys, man, like,
yep.
I don't know. That's all we got voicemail wise, Jeff.
That's it.
Talk about an efficient show today,
Very
Jeff.
Efficient.
Right about an hour. Look, you guys know the deal. We thank you guys for watching and listening. Need you to hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. If you're on YouTube right now, make sure you go click the like button before Xing out of the video. If you are on Twitter, Facebook, like it, share it. Tell your family and friends all about it. Or you can go to group5guys.com and get you some Group of 5 Guys swag. Couple games tonight, couple games Thursday night, and we will see you Friday morning to preview a big week 11 in college football. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. We're out of here.